We have obviously today's practice, tomorrow's practice, Thursday's practice, and then they're off for the weekend until Sunday evening. So it gives us a chance to work out a lot of the young players. We had a young players scrimmage at the start of practice, and they'll work another 10 or 12 plays or so at the end, and then base fundamentals and start to get in a little bit of Baylor later on.
With the young guys, can you see yet kind of some of the benefits that maybe they got from seeing the field last week?
Just being out there, and they got a lot of reps in the fall, in fall camp, I should say, and they can get lined up and function. So it gives them a chance to play, allows us to video it, and their coaches be able to coach them.
How much do you prepare for the first road game? I mean, this team's played 3 straight at home. Is there anything you can do or work on to simulate the road?
Not really. We work with sound all the time, year-round, as you know. We do it all spring, all camp, and I think that's the best way to simulate playing on the road. Maturity is an advantage in playing on the road. Hopefully, we can instill the similarities of playing on the road and home. Basically, it's about 120 of us against 65,000 of them. So there's not a lot of it, but we try to simulate sound and such in practice.
When you're entering a bye week like this, how much do you look at the old film to kind of formulate some ideas moving forward for Big 12 action?
Last year's games,
yeah.
Studied all last year's games and obviously this year's games. Same staff, same coordinators, a lot of similarities. So the game is going to look pretty much the same for the most part. If you take those 2 games, the way it's played, they really haven't changed anything they do, and we haven't really changed anything we do for the most part.
You'll have another opportunity to see them with Iowa State,
Right.
but how much does it help that you've seen them in a stressed situation with that game at BYU? I mean, that was tough.
Well, it was, and you know what's interesting is their concepts and schemes are the same. I'm fairly certain from an outside looking in, he knows what he believes in all 3 phases, and that's what they're doing. Similarities across the board.
After getting to review the Pine Bluff film, anything jump out at you that you maybe didn't see live?
Well, our guys played good. They were focused. We were able to minimize some missed assignments. Our tackling was okay, not great. Still need to tackle better. It's one of the concerns I had. I mentioned before the first game because we didn't scrimmage much, really not at all. So I was concerned about that. We have to work really hard in tackling the next 2 weeks. But overall, pretty much what I saw.
Special teams, again, you look back on that. I wanted to ask you, what made the decision on the onside kick? Was it just simply they were penalized and put you in a plus situation?
That's been our concept for years. We just haven't been in that situation. And so unless there's a reason not to, chances are they're not going to get it on the 25 unless somebody catches it on a hop, and they might get it on the 30. If you just kick it, it's going to be on the 25. It's just kind of a risk reward.
Coach, what's the status on Brendan Evers?
He should be fine. I think he's out here today. They might hold him some this week, but he's doing pretty well.
I want clarification. The other day you said that was a squib kick, right? Was it a squib or an onside kick?
Squib.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, so it was just a squib kick that just so happened to look like an onside kick because it hit the guy?
Well, squib kicks can be low to the ground.
Right.
And it just so happened that he took off to run, and he got in the line of the path of the ball.
Okay.
So we weren't trying to intentionally hit their player.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah.
Coach, looking back at Spencer from his freshman year to now, how have you seen, obviously he's matured over time, but how have you seen how's the play calling changed from like his freshman year to now? I mean, have you taken the leash off him a little bit?
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants in our offense. We don't back him off at any. His first 2 years here, we were minimal with some of the plays we called. I mean, we wanted to put him in situations we felt he was comfortable, and he's had a lot of reps, and so he's comfortable with pretty much everything in our offense.
For Braden Johnson, averaging 100 yards a game, I mean, he's always been fast, but is there anything new that he's added in the toolbox to be different this year?
Well, he's mature. He's very appreciative of where he's at. He lost a year, and sometimes when we lose things that we have that we all take for granted, you learn to appreciate it. And I think he feels that way. He's working really, really hard, and his mind, those veteran guys, Tyler Lacey and him and Spencer and Woody and Preston and those mature guys, Cassidy, they're working really hard, and so that really helps them on Saturdays.
How beneficial is it? I know you think you'll get Jaden Bray back at some point, maybe fairly soon. We'll see. But with all the receivers clicking the way they are, how much of an advantage is that for your offense to have that many guys that can make big plays?
Yeah, I mean, an experienced quarterback and depth at receiver, linemen that can cover guys up, and having a little bit of depth at running back is what fuels this offense. And so last year we played without any depth at wide receiver, and now we have a little depth at wide receiver, so we can attack somewhat different offensively and not worry so much about the fatigue setting in at the guys that play on the perimeter.
Were you pretty sure Stephon Johnson Jr. would do what he did? I mean, he was impressive.
I don't know. When they've got to get out there and play. You know how that is, and so we talked about this. When we have players that, no matter what position they are, if they've shown in practice that they're potentially capable of being productive in a game, we got to put them on the field. That's the only way we can find out, is to put them out there in a game, let them make mistakes, let them correct them, get back in and play more. And so we like what we saw with him. He seemed to handle the situation fairly well.
As a whole, how do you feel like the first 3 games of the season have prepared you for conference?
You never have enough practice. Coaches, always feel like they wish they had more practice. We're still young and immature at spots, and where we're experienced at other spots, they're playing really well. So now we have to, every practice matters for us, and young guys need experience and reps, and try to minimize big plays, be good on special teams, and don't turn the ball over.
And are you satisfied with how much growth you've seen in those first 3 games?
Yes, from where, if we're evaluating the level of players we have due to maturity and how they're growing and maturing, yes, I am.
Both Jake Springfield and Jason Brooks have kind of shared the right tackle slot. Do you think one of them is going to cement themselves as a starter, or just you're going to keep playing them both?
We'd like to play multiple guys. It falls in the same category of the wideouts. If we have guys that are showing they're good enough to play in game day, we need to play them and find out and see what those guys can do. Hang on a second. Hey, Justin, tell them they can see their coaches. I'm not going to talk to them today. They can see their coaches, yes. Thank you.
Dominic Richardson number of carries have been kind of up and down through 3 games. Is this workload kind of just determined by the pace of the game, or?
He's going to be a 20 carry a game guy, somewhere in that area. Obviously, that didn't happen in this game based on the way the game went early. 20-ish, somewhere around that area, that's where he'll be.
You were talking about the added depth at receiver this year. Has that made it a lot more comfortable for you guys to do things like run 4 wide, run up tempo?
Gives us flexibility with personnel groupings, what you're talking about, and gives us way more flexibility in playing fast. So we're fortunate now with a very experienced quarterback and depth out there. The guys run a lot. And last year, we missed that. So we were just limited in some things we can do. Right now, we're fortunate enough that we don't have limitations there.
For more information, you can visit TulsaWorld.com.